multilayered complex system mechanisms of human psychology. Embodiment of needs and homeostasis, appetite, obesity, and the environment. The process by which our bodies satisfy physiological needs such as hunger, thirst, and the maintenance of body temperature is a quintessential example of embodied cognition. When we feel hungry, our blood sugar, hormone secretion, sensory stimuli, for example, food seen in TV ads, the smell of home-cooked meals, and even social memories such as a mother comforting an upset child with snacks all operate simultaneously. This entire network of bodily, environmental, and mnemonic factors is integrated in the brain as a motivation to eat, which leads to actual behaviors like opening the refrigerator or searching for food. Individual differences in eating habits, satiety, overeating, or anorexia are shaped by a complex interplay of biological factors, genetics, psychological patterns, stress coping, pursuit of pleasure, and sociocultural influences, eating norms, family food habits. Through these processes, acts of homeostasis maintenance are realized through the intricate interaction of the brain, body, environment, and culture, exemplifying a complex system. The complexity of motivation and reward, instincts, drives, and incentives. The imprinting behavior of ducklings, following the first object they see after birth, is an instinctive drive that emerges from brain-body-environment interactions. In humans, behavioral patterns advantageous to survival and reproduction are deeply embedded in the body and environment through evolutionary processes. Drives such as hunger and sexual desire are intertwined with bodily needs, brain motivational circuits, environmental stimuli, like food or potential mates, and sensory information, smells, sounds, in complex ways. For instance, the impact of external incentives like pizza ads, compliments, promotions, or financial rewards on behavior involves not only the brain's pleasure centers, but also past experiences, social norms, and the individual's intrinsic motivation, with non-linear effects. The phenomenon where intrinsically enjoyable activities lose their appeal when linked with rewards, extrinsic motivation, must also be understood through complex system interactions of internal/external motives, environmental conditions, and personal traits. The embodiment and complexity of emotion, expression, interpretation, culture. Emotions emerge as novel patterns through the interaction of body, environment, and social context. For example, automatic physiological responses like a pounding heart or sweaty palms in a frightening situation combine with cognitive appraisals, "This is scary," to create the feeling of fear. The same physical response can be interpreted differently: focus during an exam, excitement on a date, depending on context, past experiences, cultural norms, or the facial expressions of others. Socially, facial expressions and gestures are interpreted differently across cultures, and even affect emotional experience through the facial feedback effect. Thus, emotional experience is a complex system shaped by the simultaneous interaction of the autonomic nervous system, cognitive interpretation, situational appraisal, and facial muscles. Gene-environment interactions, obesity, anorexia, and behavioral complexity. For example, children of obese parents are statistically more likely to be obese, but this cannot be reduced to genetics alone. Genetic predispositions interact with parental eating habits, environmental factors, sedentary lifestyle, mealtime atmosphere, and emotions, for example, stress, binge eating from disappointment. Overweight individuals tend to be more sensitive to tasty foods, eating contexts, and stress. Anorexia often arises from social and psychological pressures, for example, cultural ideals of thinness, social media comparisons, combined with family environments, particularly prevalent among young women in the middle or upper class. Thus, human psychology and behavior are complex systems woven from body, mind, family, society, and culture. Embodiment and social diversity of sexual motivation. Sexual motivation is an instinct shared across humanity but is also dynamically shaped by hormones, physiological factors, personal experiences, social norms, cultural values, and historical changes. Certain societies or eras enforce strict attitudes that suppress sexual behavior, while more liberal societies produce the opposite effect. Even between men and women, the meaning of love, sexual attitudes, and patterns of behavior change dynamically amid biological, psychological, and sociocultural factors. Curiosity, sensation-seeking, and achievement motivation, multi-system self-regulation. The degree to which people seek sensory stimulation, curiosity or optimal arousal levels, varies widely. This depends on genetic temperament, personal development, the current environment, job stress, and other intersecting factors. Highly achievement-motivated individuals prefer moderate challenges and dynamically adjust their motivation systems through experiences of challenge and failure, rewards, and social feedback. Excessive achievement motivation can lead to side effects, for example, workaholism, interpersonal conflict, exemplifying how motivation, emotion, and behavior form non-linear, complex patterns in real life. Embodiment of intrinsic/extrinsic motivation, self-esteem, and social comparison. An individual may lose interest in a beloved activity when external rewards, for example, grades, prizes, are imposed, a result of complex, variable interactions among the brain's reward circuit, social evaluation, and bodily states, stress, anticipatory excitement. When comparing themselves to others on social media, people experience emotions like pride or inferiority, and rationalize those feelings. Physiological reactions, heart rate, facial tension, brain processes, reward/comparison systems, and environmental or social stimuli all interact to generate these responses. Interaction of emotion with thinking and behavior, exams, relationships, social judgment. Emotion powerfully affects thoughts, memory, judgment, and behavior. For example, excessive nervousness before an exam, bodily arousal, muddles judgment, cognition, increases mistakes, behavior, and prompts defensive mechanisms like blaming external factors, rationalization, or stubbornness after failure. Attachment and cooperation with others form through the interplay of childhood experiences, social and cultural context, and the bodily states of trust or tension. Complex systemic nature of aggression and violence, instinct, imitation, social regulation. Aggression results from instincts but is simultaneously shaped by frustration, stress, environmental triggers, past experience, and culture, for example, media violence exposure, through complex interactions. Outbursts are not simply built-up anger, but are regulated in subtle ways by social responses, conversational strategies, empathy for others' perspectives, and emotion regulation strategies. Reducing aggression, then, requires diverse social and psychological strategies, non-aggressive models, appropriate rewards and punishments, induction of positive emotions, changes in situational interpretation, effective communication, and apology, all woven along complex pathways. In sum, human psychology, motivation, emotion, and behavior emerge as embodied and complex system phenomena, perpetually shaped by the ongoing interactions of brain, body, environment, others, and culture. This understanding shows that humans cannot be fully explained by simple stimulus-response chains or brain-centered models, rather, they must be approached as dynamic wholes, with simultaneous consideration of body, environment, culture, and group systems.